Hello, viewers. This is Oral Ofori of the African Dream. Today, we have for our guest Kweku Boateng. Kweku Boateng has been in the country for a little close to a decade. He is right now speaking to us from Woodbridge. Kweku Boateng is one of the organizers that recently held the demonstration at the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C. in the United States. The demonstration was to express grievances against bad governance in Ghana. Kweku Boateng is here himself to tell us about the demonstration and other things in connection to it. How are you doing today, Kweku?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Now, before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself, just to give our viewers and listeners an idea of who they are hearing and seeing.
My name is Kweku Boateng. I'm a resident of United States, but a native of Ghana. I've been in the US for almost 10 years now. I'm actually a healthcare administrator. I own my own business. I have a master's in health administration. Currently, I'm pursuing a doctorate program in business administration. I'm married with two beautiful kids. I love my country. I like to stay abreast with issues going on currently, and I get involved in the society a lot in terms of community organizing and issues pertaining to the general public.
Describe the subject of Wednesday's demonstration at the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C.
So I was the convener for Ghanaians Against Bad Governance. It's a group of individuals, academicians, the ordinary person who lives here but has concerns and also follow through with issues going on in our country, Ghana. The group came about when we were watching the World Cup and folks, friends, started talking about the various issues that were going on in our country, to the extent that it has gotten to a point we needed to also voice our concerns. We thought it wise that as a people, we need to start letting our government, the leaders, those who we voted into power, understand that they should do what they were voted for, and they should understand that governance is for the people, it should be by the people, and all the time we need to demand accountability as well as a responsible governance. So we plan that, to do that, we need to demonstrate and protest and let the government understand loud and clear that we will stop sitting on the fence, but rather engage them in a dialogue, and for them to know that indeed Ghanaians are listening and Ghanaians deserve better and enough is enough. So that's what came about on the 23rd of July. We went to the Ghana Embassy in DC to protest the bad governance that's going on, and to ask our government to stop the decline in terms of all the economic indices that is happening in our country. And I think as the interview goes on, I'll have an opportunity to give you the details of what exactly some of the issues pertaining to our economy in this current situation.
Interesting. Now, what did the turnout tell you about how people took the demonstration? I mean, from the kinds of people that you're saying turned up, professionals and, average, regular people. When you look at the turnout, you were there yourself. What did it give you about how people took the demonstration here in the USA?
It confirmed our belief and our expectations that indeed Ghanaians everywhere, are very concerned about the situation in our country and want to see some changes, because you understand that on a Wednesday in the United States, in a working day, it wasn't a holiday, to pull over 150 people to an embassy during a working day from 9 a.m. all the way to 1 p.m. indeed tells you that people are really, really concerned, and the sentiments that we express cuts across. We had people coming all the way from New York, Atlanta, Chicago. We had people, actually somebody came from London We had somebody coming from Canada as well. We had people coming from Delaware, Philadelphia, and what have you. So it went to confirm the fact that indeed across the globe or wherever anybody is, if he's a Ghanaian and following what is going on in Ghana, indeed nobody is happy, and we had people from all walks of life, and the message was clear that the way our country is being managed right now, if we don't stop the decline, the future will continue to look very bleak for us.
Kweku, I hear you presented a petition. What kind of a response did it get, and do you feel your message and purpose has been sent across?
Indeed, we did put together a petition which addressed our concerns and also prefer some solutions to our government, and also to let the government understand that we are indeed a non-partisan group who are concerned about the welfare of the ordinary person in Ghana. Our petition was directly addressed to the President of the Republic of Ghana. So we do not have an ambassador yet. So the head of Chancery, her name is Ama Chum, who is representing as the acting ambassador, actually received a petition on behalf of the President of Ghana. So the message was that she's going to forward it to our president, and we're going to wait and see. We know that our president is going to be here next month, I think the first week of August. So we're hoping that we'll hear something from the president before he comes. If not, when he's here, we'll try and find a way to engage him.
And now that the demonstrations are over, what is the next line of action?
We want to continue to engage government and the good people of Ghana. We want to continue to raise awareness. We want to continue to monitor proceedings in terms of whatever is happening in our country. So we are not going to, take our foot off the accelerator yet. We're going to make sure that the concerns that we address in our petitions are being followed through. We want to make sure that the good people who sacrifice a day of work to be at the embassy know that whatever they sacrifice was for a good cause. So we're going to give them updates in terms of what the government is doing, in terms of issues that are being addressed, and we'll continue to engage government in that line.
What do you say to those people who criticized the July 23rd Occupy Ghana Embassy demonstration, especially those who felt it didn't make Ghana look good in the eyes of the USA and, in the eyes of parties that are interested in affairs of Ghana? What do you say to them?
Ora, the issues that we addressed or the concerns that were raised at our demonstration are not issues that are new. Anybody who has Ghana at heart knows all these concerns. As a matter of fact, the Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, the Bloomberg News have published all this that we stated on the 23rd. So it's not like we're portraying our country in a different light. If you may recall, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana actually tweeted something in response to our president's tweet. So it goes to confirm that nobody is in the dark in terms of what is going on in Ghana. Because if you take, for instance, our CD has declined for almost 30% year to date. That is not something that you can hide. That is public knowledge. That is a fact out there. Everybody who trades in Ghana knows what is going on. That our CD this year alone is the third worst currency when you compare other currencies and how they are doing this year. You talk about the fact that we've borrowed so much, and there's no, substantial reflection of all the borrowing that we've done. If you go to Ghana, those who travel to Ghana a lot, the roads that they are encountered with when they travel to Ghana, it's very clear. We have diplomats, we have foreigners who go to Ghana. When they land in Ghana, they know the sort of roads that they travel on. They know the sort of hospitals when they are sick they go into. So this is not something that we are trying to fabricate or trying to make up. It's a public knowledge. Everybody knows that our country is not doing well. Inflation, as I speak to you now, is about 15%. It keeps on going up. Today, I got information that cement is being sold for 42 Ghana cedis. Just last month alone, it was being sold for about 25 Ghana cedis. So every part of our economy is in decline. And it's not news. It's something that everybody knows. The Fitch, the Moody's, those crediting agencies have been downgrading us over the past 1 year. Now we are B minus. So our issues are out there. We need to be bold. We need to be truthful to ourselves. We need to be open to be able to understand that until we accept our problems and put our heels to the shoulder and say that we are going to address these issues, they are not going to go away. There are issues that we need to confront them. We need to be bold about it and make sure that we are charting a path that will address these concerns.
Now, Kukubasi, you talk about the need for Ghanaians to be bold, for the nation to be able to address these issues that seemingly are bringing the economy and the entire nation down. Now, do you think Ghanaians abroad and back home are ready to make the sacrifices needed to steer the country out of the economic hardship it's in today?
I think so. But I think it should begin with our leaders. Our leaders need to give us the framework needed for all of us to partake in. Those of us, the ordinary citizens, of course, have a part to play. But I think that our leaders, those who were elected into government, need to start, charting the path that will be very inclusive, that will bring everybody on board to make sure that we're doing the right things to bring back our government in a way that, we can compete with the rest of the world. If you have a government which is listening and paying attention, I don't think that in the midst of all this, where students are being taught right in the open, sitting on cement blocks as chairs, will go and distribute about 13 cars to chiefs that they don't even need those cars, and you ask yourself, what was the rationale behind that? You ask yourself, another clear example is that you have a government that keeps on increasing the prices of fuel, but the agency which is in charge of that is actually renting an office space for a whopping $68,000 a month. These things are very irresponsible. So we need the government to start setting the examples. We need the government to start acting right. We need the government to show us the way so that some of us will follow and make sure that our country is in a better place.
Talk about some of the solutions or suggestions you have for government to help make things better. I mean, considering that your demonstration was mainly against, the harsh living conditions and some of these corruption that you outlined since the beginning of this interview.
One of the things we suggested, and this is not rocket science, one of the things we suggested was that government needs to stop borrowing. And why do I say that? Government has borrowed almost, for the past 5 years, almost $27 billion. And you ask, where are this money going to? We have so many things that are happening to our money when it's taken to Ghana. There are schemes created by our government that is actually being a bane. It's like a corrupt situation. Schemes alone cost our country about $2.5 billion. So all that we are saying is that governments need to look at what it is that is happening to our country and our system and start having the political will to stop the corrupt practices that is taking most of our monies that we are borrowing day in, day out. So if governments have the will to be able to say that, hey, all the monies that I've borrowed, I'm going to apply it judiciously, will go a long way as a country to see improvement in our lives. So all in all, we are borrowing money, but we are not applying it to where it's supposed to be applied because the system is so corrupt. We have a payroll system whereby people are being paid, but they are not working. Why can't our government take a strong stance and say that we'll ensure that our payroll system is clean, is devoid of ghost names, folks who are not working and not being paid? If we do some of these practical but very simple measures, we think that our country can actually raise the revenue it needs to start implementing some of these policies. We also think that the government need to have the political will to be able to, empower certain neutral bodies so that it will go a long way to curb corruption, such as, we have Yoko, we have Traj. They can investigate, all right, but as it stands now, they do not have prosecuting powers. We want our government to empower some of these agencies to be able to go ahead and prosecute those that go wrong with the system. So that if somebody who is related or who has a part in play in government is found culpable, will be able to prosecute, will be prosecuted. So there are so many other measures. We have the Freedom of Information Bill that is still, in Parliament and nobody is talking about it. If this Freedom of Information Bill is passed, we know that it will give the freedom for people like us to be able to go out and give the government the information they need to start indicting people who are actually, taking advantage of our government and taking advantage of our revenue and our money. There are so many other things that government can get going, but we think the political will is not there. So some of these protests that we are all embarking on is to raise the awareness necessary for government to know that, hey, enough is enough. Your people have had enough. They deserve better. It will go a long way to check the over expenses that we keep on seeing year after year. Just in 2012 alone, we all know what happened. The government went into a hole of about $8 billion in deficit. We went over our budget for about $4 billion. Why can't we stay within our budget? And in the sense that the budget that has been approved by Parliament can just be blown out of proportion without any recourse to anything. So we need to have the laws that can check some of these things, because if you leave it up to people to just continue to mismanage and do things anyhow, I don't think there will be any checks and balances anywhere.
I hear you mentioning government a whole lot, in your expositions. Now, tell me, finally, before we leave you, what responsibility should the average Ghanaian have to make them realize that fixing the country is not only a government issue, it's also an issue of the people,
Right. I think, as I said before, definitely the ordinary person also have a part to play in all this. But I think, we need it to start from somewhere. We need for all Ghanaians, first and foremost, I think all Ghanaians need to be watchdogs. We all have to start paying attention in terms of what is going on. Until we start paying attention, because there are so many issues in Ghana, sometimes when you even talk about it, people don't understand. So until as a government or as a people, we all start paying attention to what is going on around us, we may not be able to even engage government in the right way. So my plea to the ordinary person is that let's start ask questions. Let's start play our part as a citizen. Let's start play our role as the ordinary person, trying to engage their leaders to make sure that the leadership of our country is moving in the right direction. Until we start paying attention, we'll be taken advantage of. But in our own small way, I think that we as a people need to have the voluntary heart. We need to start sacrificing for our people. We need to go out there in the community to do community work, to do labor work, to make sure that we're lending a hand And once we are doing that, we can be able to stand on it and say that we've played our part, we've done this for the community. And what I do is that almost every quarter, I send books, I send money, and I sponsor a few students through scholarship programs that are there on my own. So Ghanaians, ordinary people who have the ability to do that, I'll urge them to play their part in nation building. It takes everyone to be able to build a nation like Ghana. And nations across the world have been able to achieve this because their people came together with government to make sure that we are propagating the agenda that will take us to the next level. But indeed, it needs to start from the top, and it will trickle down to the ordinary person on the ground.
We look forward to hearing more from you, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors, Kweku. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. This was for God and country. Thank you.